just before you took over as air chief, when the Balakot strike happened, Operation Bandar, can you tell us something about that? When you first heard about it, what was your reaction and what was the Air Force reaction?
No, Balakot, I think very clearly it was a very well designed operation, very well planned, very meticulous and executed very well. So the bombing itself was absolutely successful in spite of Pakistan being on higher air defense alert, which we were monitoring because they were probably thinking that some action would be taken. In spite of that heightened situation, our mission planning and execution was such, and the overall deception that we planned, that our main mission was never intercepted, and whichever Pakistani Air Force aircraft got airborne, they were far away from our main areas, our mission itself. So our mission stuck, the target was stuck, and thereafter they retaliated the next day, which you are aware. So in terms of achieving what was required to be achieved, it was achieved, absolutely, without doubt.
So a terror camp was attacked, but how come the pictures that came out were what Pakistan put out, and what the narrative Pakistan put out was that just crows died?
Yeah, what do you expect them to do? Their terror camp was hit, they were caught napping, sleeping. Our aircraft entered deep into their territory and strike their terror camp. So they had to build a story and put out this kind of narrative. What is important? You asked about pictures. We must understand the weather wasn't so good. The weather was bad. It was quite cloudy, and as you are well aware now, it is since it's out in the media that one of the weapons that was planned, which would have given us a closer picture of the battle damage assessment too, was not dropped. So we did not have the pictures from the weapon, but we later on collated all the data from the satellite pictures and had the idea of what all has been hit and damaged, which was later on brought up. In terms of their approach and their IW, so to say, that nothing was hit and some crow died. If only the crow died, why didn't they take the press and everybody to those buildings the very next day? They took them after about 40 odd days. And that too, not the buildings that were hit, it was some adjacent buildings. So we are very clear what hit. And you must remember, I think the larger picture is the political will to strike deep into the territory, the terrorist camp. That was the intent. That was achieved. Thereafter, the military will and the capability to achieve that mission, that was achieved.
Do you remember that day? I mean, when the news first came, I think you should tell us about that. How you broke the story, what happened?
Ma'am, if you remember, I guess you had sent me the tweet early in the morning, the tweet which was put out by Pakistan, the DGI-SPR, that crows were killed and attack failed. So we were also not ready to believe कि Air Force ने जाके किया है. I don't know.
और इतनी दूर किया है.
इतनी दूर किया है.
And it was a sense of deja vu because surprisingly on the night that the Osama bin Laden attack also happened, that night also I was working on something and I was still awake when I saw that tweet by that person saying कि कुछ हुआ है यहाँ पे, and then all this happened. So when this tweet came out first and Balakot, I said, this is too deep. But because of that action, there I delayed the reaction till the morning. Here I didn't want to delay and I immediately asked, कि ये क्या हुआ यहाँ पे?
And that day, luckily, I was also up very early. I checked up with the then chief and he didn't give any answers. I messaged him, I tried to call him. So I was sure that something had happened. And by
Air Marshal Dhanwar, right? At that
Chief
time?
Marshal Dhanwar at that time. And by 8 o'clock, we put out our first tweet that 6 Mirages had crossed over.
And the channels very cleverly at that time just put out ANI says because nobody wanted the headache कि अगर हम break कर देंगे तो
ownership of the news.
Yeah, we are going to get a call from the PRO saying what the hell, why have you done this? Yeah. So we at that time I was like, are you sure, Ajit? I mean, बात हो चुकी है. And he said, anyway, I won't go into the details about how we cross-checked and who we cross-checked with. But there was first a sense of disbelief that the Indian aircraft went all the way till Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and they were not challenged till that point. There was a sense of disbelief initially when we checked on the map where Balakot was located.
Yeah, yeah. And the sequence that you have said was very clear. Since they were hit, they knew they have been hit, and they said, no,
Yeah.
some crows died. I don't know how they counted the crows. But when the mission lands, there is time to fly back. The aircraft are in different locations. You quickly analyze what happened. You debrief, and then the facts of the strike and the achieved result reaches headquarters, the boss, and then he would kind of brief the ministry and put out, and it would take a certain time, and that is what this timeline was. So in terms of what we did, it's very clear.
Sir, when
And you
something
said unchallenged, their aircraft
yeah.
challenged, but they challenged the wrong people. They were in the wrong area.
So when something like this happens, if you could tell us how it happens, like how many people are there who take the decision, and then how does it go?
No, obviously a decision to do this would be taken by the chief and thereafter communicated to the commander of the executing command, so WSC in this case. And WSC thereafter, there's a system, there are people authorized and deputed to do the mission planning. All that would have been done. It gets all checked out. That would have been done earlier itself before the decision.
But the decision is taken as a political decision, isn't it?
Of course.
And then
to strike is a political decision.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, that's why I said
on the advice
that
of
was the starting point was the
Okay.
political will to strike a target so deep.
Okay.
It is not normal. After 71, this is the next time that we went. Even in Kargil, we didn't cross. So this was the, I think, more important aspect of it. That if you do something like Pulwama, this is what you get. If you do a cross-border terrorism, we will hit back.
Click here to watch the full episode.